Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our next episode. This is Aryeh Eisenberg coming to you from Edu-Together, and we are really happy to have a special guest with us today. I want to welcome Tamar Adegbile, the upper school head at the Crane Country Day School in California. Tamar, thank you so much for being with us today. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
So let's begin with, if you could give us a little overview of the Crane Country Day School. Who are you guys? Where are you? And what makes Crane Country School so unique?
Yes, so we are a K through 8 school in Santa Barbara, California, kind of midway between Los Angeles and the Bay Area, a little closer to Los Angeles. And we are a school that really focuses on experiential learning. So we believe that students
Wow.
learn best by doing, and really want them to kind of understand their place in the world and how what they're learning can be translated beyond just the classroom. So that's really a focus of what we do here at Crane.
I'm ready to sign my own kids up, but unfortunately they're post eighth grade. But it sounds amazing. When we talk about experiential learning, can you give us a few examples? Because obviously that term can mean different things, and I wanna have a better understanding of what your approach to experiential learning is.
Yeah, so for instance, students are reading a book, and it's related to our fall trip week, where they will be going to the American South and kind of experiencing the history and literature and culture that is sort of an important part of our history, and sometimes it's difficult. So they're reading a book in literature that in English that is related to that topic. And then there were some aspects of the book that they're enacting, right? So there's a dinner scene that they read about, and then so that they were asked to sort of bring in foods that were reminiscent of that time and really sort of bring that aspect of the book to life. And sort of, I think that made a sort of a more personal connection to what students were
Wow.
reading. Um, we will have, for our younger students in our lower school, for instance, if they are studying a unit on animals or birds, they're going to go out and do some bird watching. So they're going to actually
Awesome.
not just learn about that species, but see if they can find them in our local area and have a time to really reflect upon that when they come back to the classroom.
It's always so nice to get the students out of the classroom for some hands-on learning. I saw on your website you have a beautiful aerial view and a tour of your campus. I guess being located in Santa Barbara, California has its advantages of being able to really utilize that outdoor space. Do your students spend a good amount of time outdoors learning on the school's campus as opposed to in the classroom itself?
Yes, so there are aspects of the campus that they get to utilize and take advantage of every day. We have a garden on campus, so that is something that is
Uh,
utilized for a lot of the studies that they do. Again, in the lower school, we have the beach nearby, so they will do sort of samples, collect samples, water samples, and test that back in the lab in science in the upper school. So we definitely do take advantage of some of the opportunities that we have to really experience things right in our backyard.
That's so amazing to have access to the beach so close to school. I think a lot of people are watching this and are a little jealous of how easy that access is, but that's such an amazing opportunity for the students. You know, as an experiential learning based school, what do you find to be the greatest challenge when it comes to providing that hands-on learning? Obviously the benefits are clear. Being able to give that the students those hands-on opportunities are amazing. What do you find is the most challenging aspect in being able to do that for your students?
Yeah, I think, probably one of the things that is challenging as a school that's experiential is to really keep up. I think so much is changing rapidly. And so the ways that we are able to make sure that those opportunities are relevant for students. And it's also a heavy lift. It's easier, quite honestly, to just sit in a class
Sure.
and be in the front of the room and use a whiteboard and sort of do that sort of traditional learning, but we know that it benefits students. So I think sometimes it requires a lot more heavy lifting, red tape. You've got to do logistics that are involved in terms of transportation, chaperones,
Well,
um, all of those things, medical forms. So there are a lot of things that go along with taking students off campus and having them experience those off-campus ventures or experiences, but it's worth it. But it isn't always the most efficient way to communicate content. So I'd say that's sometimes the challenge.
Well, I can appreciate those challenges, and you must have a very dedicated staff who are really involved in this. What kinds of PD or training do you provide your staff that might be unique to Crane Country Day School that you might not find at a typical learning institution?
Yeah, I'm not, I'm thinking of all the ways that we do things sort of differently. In terms of how we provide sort of the training and opportunities for teachers, I think that that's something we're actually really growing. We have two administrators that have really taken on the idea of professional development and how we really provide those opportunities for teachers in a way that feels enriching for them and not a burden. I think that's always a challenge and
Sure,
something to
very true.
to balance for schools. But we give teachers opportunities to say, what would you like to do? What would help you to sort of maybe reimagine that unit or do it a little bit differently or add something to it? So there are traditional conferences and workshops, but we also, invite teachers to go visit other schools. Maybe there's a school in Los Angeles that is doing something that they've learned about that's really interesting and maybe spend a
Oh,
day
wow.
or some courses. So we've really tried to not have a one size fits all approach to professional development and have it really be pertinent to the teacher themselves.
So you bring up a great point about not having that one size fits all for the teachers, and I want to draw our attention to something that I read on your website, and I really loved reading it. You have a line on your website that says, "Our teachers guide each student toward academic and personal success." Now, typically when you see a line like that, it would just say towards academic success. That's it. That's what schools generally do. But what do you mean by personal success? What does that translate into in Crane Country School?
Yeah, that's a great question. I will say I'm more familiar with the upper school, although my children did attend the lower school, so I can speak to it from some regarding that. I think, the small class sizes, we usually have two teachers in most of our grades, so they really are having the chance to really get to know students really, really well and can sort of support them, identify challenges as well as strengths. I think it's important to celebrate and acknowledge both of those things. But in the
Absolutely.
upper school, which I'm more involved and familiar with, we really, in addition to our upper school teachers delivering content and instruction, they also serve as advisors for students. So they are
Oh, wow.
group advisories where they are interacting with students daily in the morning and in the afternoon. So they sort of get to start their day with that individual as well as close that day, each day rather. And it's a really great way for students to have that touch point. That is also the point of contact for families. So if they have any concerns, they'd like to communicate with us, or there are observations that we want to communicate to the family, there's one person that they get to do.
It's a point person.
Yeah, one point person, which is really, really great. And then we as a collective of upper school faculty really have conversations about how we can support students better. So I really do know that when students feel good and feel a sense of belonging and cared for, they learn better, right? The two
Absolutely.
go hand in hand. So we understand that it's really important that students come to school every day feeling like this is a place where they can be themselves, feel safe, and I feel that that impacts the learning experience for them.
Wow, your students, it sounds like your students are very lucky. That it sounds like they have so many levels of support to make sure that they, as you say, succeed both academically and personally. And I think that it's such an amazing outcome when we're able to provide that to our students. And I hope your students know how lucky they are to be so supported. Tamar, you said something earlier that was very interesting. You said that in addition to being the upper school head, you're also a parent in the school. And I'm curious, how has it been a challenge for you to kind of be on both sides of the audience? So, sometimes as administrators, we have we have a different type of relationship with parents than we do with our students, obviously, but you kind of you're on both sides. So has that been has that been a good aspect, or has that been something challenging for you?
I honestly would say that it's been an asset. And I would say I have two very different children. So they have different personalities, different strengths. And and I can say that it's been nice to see how Crane has been able to support both children. And so I think that that's a testament to the school that having two very different children. And so I feel like I can bring that to my supporting council of parents who may have multiple children here who learn differently, present differently. And I also think that it has helped me to have that sympathy, empathy for parents as they deal with different challenges. When you think about how a parent has maybe experienced challenges, you have your own um, vantage point to draw from. And I know that there are things that I can empathize with as a parent in this school, so that when a parent shares a challenge that they are experiencing or their child is experiencing, I can have both that parent hat and that administrator hat, which I think is
You actually get to say, I've been there, I get it,
exactly, I
which
can relate. And I think that that does carry some weight in it, and it helps to really allow me to partner with the parents in support of that child.
that's really it's a very unique vantage point, but it sounds like it's been a big asset, and being able to appreciate both sides of the audience, it sounds like you're really able to help both groups, both the teachers and the faculty, as well as the parents and the students. So that's really amazing. You know, it's clear, through the experiential classes that you offer and through your program, obviously academics are very important, but talk to us a little bit about what happens, what are your students doing when they're not in the classroom and when they're not involved in experiential learning? Do you guys have extracurricular activities that you offer? Do you have clubs? What happens during those non-academic hours of the school day?
Yeah, I would say that our schedule is pretty tight. Students don't have a tremendous amount of downtime. They have a recess in the morning, they have a recess in the afternoon. We do some study hall. I think some of the things that are really community grounding here at Crane that I love, we have a daily assembly here,
Really? Wow.
and it often, every Friday in particular, it features student performances. We call it Spotlight. And you'll have students ranging from kindergarten all the way to eighth grade sharing a talent or a skill with
Wow.
audience. And I think I love that because students really develop confidence on stage in front of a large audience, which, I don't know if I could have done when I was 5 or 6 years old, but you got students there belting out their favorite song or doing a dance performance. So I feel like that's a really important skill that we develop. Students have an opportunity to gain that confidence. And that's followed up through a lot of curricular things that we do, student speeches and things like that. All of those are aspects of our daily assemblies. So students are very much in the forefront. They gain comfort in being in front of their peers and teachers, and that's a wonderful thing. We have athletic programs, so those are typically after school. And one of the things I really love as well is the arts are really celebrated here. The
Wow.
visual
So
so
important.
students do all the way from kindergarten through eighth grade. They have art pretty regularly in their schedule. It isn't just a once or twice a week course. It's more like 4 days a week, and they're doing
Whoa.
some really great studies. So they do a Keith Haring exhibit, or they'll do a
Wow.
something on Basquiat, or they'll do another artist that they're really going to do a deep dive study and then do an exhibit of their own in that
I
regard.
I started my teaching career, just so you know, as a visual arts instructor. So I hear stories like that, and I'm very jealous that the students are going to an art class four times a week. That's really special, and says, just shows what type of school Crane Country Day School is, because that's not something, as we all know, that's not something we see in most schools. And unfortunately, in a lot of learning environments, the arts are the first thing to go.
Oh, right.
And it's so amazing that you guys are incorporating it at such a high level. So great job for that. That's so amazing. You know, Today we're here in the 21st century, where our job as educators, we always say, is to prepare our students for the real world, for life after school is over. how do you guys, as a modern school, as an innovative learning institution, how do you utilize or integrate technology into either the learning or even just into the regular school operations?
Yeah, the lower schools changed a little bit since my students were there. So I do think that they do a little bit more work with iPads and things like that. I think
Hmm.
intentionally a balance around technology, but not too much technology as their
Right.
minds are still developing. We are one-to-one campus here at the upper
Oh,
school.
wow. Okay.
Do a good amount of their work, and they're, given some opportunities to develop their executive functioning schools. They have Google Classroom where they can check out, their assignments, both current and future. And so they are, given an opportunity to have a sense of what's coming and what they're learning and check their assignments. And they do, research with them in class sometimes. They're using them to write assignments. So we definitely do incorporate technology. And as I think I mentioned earlier, everything's ever changing. So we are doing
Sure.
a lot of conversations around AI and proper use of AI and really helping students to understand that as we ourselves are learning about that ever-changing topic. And also digital citizenship. So understanding students, understanding their um, their online footprint and all of those things. So there are a lot of ways that we sort of, I think, intentionally incorporate technology and helping students to navigate something that, those of us who are teachers and educators, we grew up different times, didn't have all of these
Very much so.
distractions and resources as well. And so helping to have them understand the proper use of them and to use them productively and constructively.
I found a couple of years ago, I have two teenage sons, and I found a couple of years ago in an old drawer one of my first laptop computers, and I think the thing weighed like 7 pounds, and my son said at the time, "This is not a laptop," and I was like, "Yes, yes, it is," and just shows how far we've come. But it sounds like you guys are really approaching technology from a lot of different layers and vantage points, again, in order to prepare those students for their futures, where obviously we're in a world that's using technology, for almost everything nowadays. So that's really important.
Yes. Yeah, really important. And we're learning as we go along, kind of, and
That's
that's the case.
that's what we all do. It's all about learning as we go along. Tamar, we're getting to the end of the school year. We're summer is almost here, yay! And looking forward to to a little bit of rest, hopefully over the summer. What are going to be your big projects between now and the new school year? What are you hoping to really be able to either launch or to add to the school for the coming school year in September?
Yeah, it's a great question. We have a few new students joining our community, so one of my priorities is really ensuring that those students feel really welcomed and part of this community as quickly and early on as possible. So that's a really important thing. And thinking of ways, one of the meetings I just left was sort of thinking about our scheduling and our orientations. We are in the process of embarking on a math audit, so looking at our math program and seeing what we might want to tweak and change and consider for the future to stay again relevant and with the ever changing world out there. And we are definitely focusing more on, I think, hearing from our parents. They want to know more about supporting their children with technology use. So that is something that we are thinking about how we partner with them in making sure that we are communicating the same values and really supporting students to use that technology responsibly. And then I'm always thinking about how can we make our curriculum more engaging. So are there opportunities for us to do that? We just came off this year doing something called highly experiential educational day, so HEAT
Ooh.
day. And so we're experiential learning school where we said, how can we really have an entire day that's focused on that? So we're taking out the traditional classroom experience and really having students do something fully experiential the entire day. So this is our
Wow,
second
sounds
year.
awesome.
So we'll be doing a lot of planning and preparation for that. It was a heavy lift. I think we underestimated how much work and involvement and engagement that took. So we are going in a little bit earlier to think about that for this year to the days went off really amazingly well and the students had a great experience and we want to just sort of even take that up a notch. So that's something I'll be thinking about and working on for in preparation.
Well, it sounds like you're gonna have a very restful summer coming up tomorrow. No, I'm like it sounds like a lot going on, and like I said before, your students it sounds like your students are in such a great learning environment that with the care, the type of learning, the options that they have. So, keep up this great work. It sounds fantastic. I'm only a little sad. I'm on the East Coast because you're a little far, but it really sounds like an amazing learning environment and really amazing job that you guys are doing an amazing job and I'm sure your next school year is going to be even more successful. If Tamar, is there any advice that I know schools and principals are always looking for ways to kind of get started with experiential learning because that's obviously something we all want to be doing with our students. Any advice to other heads of schools or to principals who haven't really gotten there yet, but are looking to go in that direction of even how to start that process?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I recall something that I learned at a workshop that I attended last year, and it was sort of about starting small, but just getting started. And so thinking about instead of rehauling or overhauling rather the entire curriculum, maybe just take, encouraging teachers or to take one topic, one subject, really starting small and saying, okay, we do this and we've done this maybe a certain way for a long time. How might we just take one unit or one project that we typically do one way, and how about sort of in putting some experiential learning into that and then sort of growing from there. So starting small, I think, is a really good way to get started.
I think that's great advice. Don't bite off more than you can at the beginning, but hopefully you add a little bit every semester, every year, and you make it grow. And I think that's a great approach. Tamar, if families or students want to find out more about the Crane Country Day School, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yes, they can go to our website, www.craneschool.org, and you can reach any one of us here at Crane. There's bios and pictures to go along with all of our admin and staffalty. We call them staffalty here, staff and
I
faculty.
like I like that. I like that.
And so there are definitely ways to reach out and find out more about what we're doing and collaborate, which we always are open to.
That sounds amazing. Tamar Adegbile, I want to thank you so much for being a guest today on our podcast. The Crane Country Day School sounds like a really special and unique learning environment. I'm already trying to figure out in my mind how to figure out a way to get to the West Coast again. It's been a while since I've been out to California, but I want to come visit the school now. So one day I might email you and say I'm on my way and get to see it in person. But until then, we're really gonna really appreciate everything that you and your staff are doing for the students. And like I said before, you have a really lucky student body, and it sounds like a very special group of students and parents. So, Tamar, thank you so much for being with us today, and we really appreciate it. And I want to wish you a little bit of rest this summer, even though it doesn't sound like you're going to have too much, but I want to wish you a little bit of rest and, of course, a successful start to the coming school year in the fall. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For those people who would like more information about our podcast series or any feedback that you want to provide, you can feel free to reach us at www.edutogether.org. Again, my name is Aryeh Eisenberg, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.